The year is 1950. In the dead of night, a massive explosion rips through the quiet, upscale neighborhood of Brentwood, Los Angeles. The target? The heavily fortified home of one Mickey Cohen. The blast is so powerful it levels half his house, but Cohen, in a strange stroke of luck, happens to be in the one room that withstands the blast, the bathroom. He survives. This was just one of at least 11 known attempts on his life. But how did a kid who was a promising young boxer become the most targeted and feared man in Los Angeles? How did he trade his boxing gloves for a gun and the ring for the blood-soaked streets of Hollywood? To understand the reign of LA's most vicious kingpin, a man who both captivated and terrorized a generation, we have to go back to the very beginning.
I have killed no men that, in the first place, didn't deserve killing.
Meyer Harris Cohen was born in Brooklyn in 1913 to a poor Russian-Jewish immigrant mother. When he was just a toddler, his family moved to Los Angeles. His father died when he was young, and he grew up in the tough melting pot neighborhood of Boyle Heights. School wasn't for him. Functionally illiterate, Cohen was in and out of reform school by age 10, spending his days selling newspapers and honing his skills in amateur boxing matches downtown. At just 15, he ran away from home to become a professional boxer, fighting in illegal underground bouts before bouncing between Cleveland, New York, and Chicago. As a featherweight, he even fought under the very on-the-nose moniker, Gangster Mickey Cohen. But his career in the ring was, to put it mildly, less than stellar. By 1933, at the age of 19, Cohen realized his real talent wasn't winning fights with points, but winning them by any means necessary. He quit professional boxing to focus on a far more lucrative career: organized crime. The criminal underworld welcomed him with open arms. During Prohibition, Cohen went to work as an enforcer for the Chicago Outfit, the legendary organization of Al Capone. Now, while Cohen himself claimed he met Capone, the timelines make a personal meeting pretty unlikely. But there's no doubt he established deep ties with Capone's organization, running armed robberies and illegal card games. This was his master's degree in mayhem. After a brief stint in prison for his role in the deaths of several gangsters at a card game, a violent public assault convinced him it was time to leave Chicago. He spent some time in Cleveland building connections with mob figures like Mo Dalitz before heading back to California in 1939. He returned to Los Angeles hardened, still illiterate but now deeply connected. His mentors in the national syndicate had a brand new critical assignment for him. He was to be the muscle for a charismatic and murderous mob legend sent to conquer the West Coast, Benjamin Bugsy Siegel. When Mickey Cohen became Bugsy Siegel's lieutenant, Los Angeles was a city ripe for the taking. Backed by the national crime syndicate, including figures like Meyer Lansky and Lucky Luciano, their mission was to wrestle control of the city's rich rackets from the local LA boss, Jack Dragna. Together, they were a fearsome duo. Siegel was the visionary, Cohen was the hammer. They took over nightclubs, infiltrated labor unions to extort Hollywood movie studios, and most importantly, seized control of the horse race wire service, the central nervous system of illegal gambling nationwide. In one legendary move to assert dominance, Cohen and his crew brazenly robbed the Clover Club, a favorite haunt of studio executives. Cohen was also instrumental in helping Siegel set up the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas, running its lucrative sportsbook operation. He was violent, efficient, and fiercely loyal. In 1940, he married Lavone Weaver, a former prostitute who went by the name Simone King, and settled into his role as the most feared enforcer in the city. He was the engine behind Siegel's West Coast empire, the guy who made sure the money flowed and the competition stayed quiet. But the partnership that defined the LA underworld was about to come to a bloody, sudden end. On June 20th, 1947, Bugsy Siegel was assassinated in Beverly Hills, most likely for skimming profits from the Flamingo. His death left a massive power vacuum in the Los Angeles underworld, and into that void stepped his 34-year-old protege, Michael Cohen. With the backing of the National Syndicate, he became the new crime boss of the West Coast. But Cohen knew that pure brutality wasn't enough. He wanted more than power. He wanted to be a star. He hired a private tutor to teach him how to read and write and to polish his manners. He became a fixture in the press, famous for his hundreds of custom-tailored suits and his obsessive-compulsive cleanliness. He was a new breed of gangster, a celebrity kingpin. He cultivated relationships with the biggest names in Hollywood, becoming close with stars like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr. He expanded his empire into loan sharking, jewelry stores, and blackmail, all while rubbing shoulders with politicians and movie stars. In a now infamous 1957 television interview with Mike Wallace, Cohen sat before a national audience, brazenly attacking the LAPD chief and coolly admitting to killing men in self-defense. "I have killed no man that, in the first place, didn't deserve killing," he stated. He wasn't some gangster hiding in the shadows. He was a public figure who dominated headlines. Cohen's story is a tangled web of Hollywood glamour, brutal ambition, and a constant war for survival. If you're finding this look into the criminal underworld fascinating, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next dive into history's most compelling figures. Cohen's rise to the top did not go unchallenged. The old-school LA mafia boss, Jack Dragna, saw Cohen as nothing more than an upstart who had stolen what was rightfully his. This kicked off a full-blown gang war that would bloody the streets of Los Angeles for years. Known as the War for the Sunset Strip, this conflict was defined by a relentless series of assassination attempts at Cohen. He was ambushed outside restaurants, his car was shot at, and his Brentwood home was dynamited. In response, Cohen turned his house into a fortress, complete with floodlights, alarms, and a massive arsenal he kept right next to his collection of 200 suits. And he was theatrical in his own violence. After Siegel's murder, an enraged Cohen reportedly stormed the Roosevelt Hotel, where he thought the assassins were hiding, and fired 2 .45s into the lobby ceiling, demanding the killers face him. He employed the notorious Johnny Stompanato as his bodyguard, who would later be killed by the teenage daughter of his lover, actress Lana Turner. In a final act of cold-bloodedness, Cohen paid for Stompanato's funeral, only to leak Turner's private love letters to the press. This constant public violence both fascinated and terrified the city, but Cohen's obsessive habits and sheer luck seemed to make him bulletproof. For all the violence and mayhem, the LAPD could never make a serious charge stick. There was never enough evidence. So, just like with Al Capone, the government decided to get him a different way. If you can't get him for murder, get him for his money. In 1950, Cohen was hauled before the famous Kefauver Committee, a U.S. Senate investigation into organized crime that was broadcast on the new medium of television, exposing the American public to the underworld like never before. Following this high-profile testimony, the federal government indicted him for income tax evasion. In June 1951, he was convicted and sentenced to 4 years in federal prison. After his release in 1955, he instantly went back to his high-profile life, but the authorities weren't done with him. In 1961, he was convicted of tax evasion for a second time and sentenced to 15 years. This time, he was sent to the infamous Alcatraz prison. He was later transferred to a federal penitentiary in Atlanta, where an inmate attacked him with a lead pipe, leaving him partially paralyzed for the rest of his life. Michael Cohen was finally released from prison in 1972. He spent his final years as a kind of touring celebrity, making television appearances and continuing to fascinate the public.
He died in his sleep from stomach cancer in 1976 at the age of 62. His legacy is a paradox. He was a ruthless, violent criminal who built an empire on fear. Yet he was also a charismatic, media-savvy celebrity who craved the spotlight and became tangled up in the glamour of old Hollywood. He was a brawler from the streets who transformed himself into the king of the Los Angeles underworld, a man who survived bombs and bullets, only to be brought down not by a gun, but by a bookkeeper's ledger. Mickey Cohen wasn't just the tale of a gangster, it's the story of a city, a perfect storm of ambition, violence, and fame that could only have ever happened in Los Angeles.